According to this chart, what is the biggest driver of inflation during the pandemic? The blue is the dark blue is the recent period.
It would be corporate profits.
And what is that percentage?
It is 54%, and that number does stay that level of high if you update that number to more recent numbers as well.
So over half of the increased prices people are paying are coming from increases in corporate profits.
Yes, the unit price index is reflected in corporate profits as opposed to other costs.
With the midterm election less than a week away, inflation remains the top issue in almost every survey that you can find. 36% saying it was their number one concern, up 9 points from the same poll back in August, although that's interesting because it hasn't gotten worse in that time. But as Democratic Congresswoman Katie Porter demonstrated there, the high prices that we're seeing at gas stations and stores in many cases are high because corporations are choosing to keep them high. You saw this last week with the announcement of record profits by the Shell Oil Corporation. This week from the New York Times, food prices soar and so do companies' profits, reporting that some food companies and restaurants are continuing to raise prices even if their own inflation-driven costs have been covered. The most prominent Democratic official making this exact argument is Congresswoman Katie Porter of California, who sits on the Oversight and Reform Committee, has become famous for the charts and whiteboards she uses to challenge corporate and financial leaders. And Congresswoman Katie Porter joins me now. All right, Congresswoman, I'm going to confess something to you, which is that as inflation ramped up, I saw Democratic policymakers making an argument that it was being driven by corporate greed. And I was a little unconvinced because corporations are always greedy. You know, they always want to maximize profit. They always want to maximize profit for their shareholders. So it seemed to me like that was an insufficient explanation of why prices were going up. I've been somewhat persuaded by your case here. So make the case for me why corporate profits are the biggest part of what's driving inflation.
Well, so this inflationary period is different, and that's what the study shows. That's what the research shows that I was talking about in the hearing that you just played. 54 cents of every extra dollar that we are being asked to pay is going to corporate profits. And here's why. Because the market power of these big corporations has grown. As small businesses, medium-sized businesses have been gobbled up by larger businesses, squeezed out by the pandemic, unable to deal with their supply chain issues, the largest corporations bankrolled by Wall Street have gotten more and more powerful. So what we find is that the biggest price gouging goes on in the very industries where there are the biggest players. Things like big oil, where we only have a handful of companies that dominate the market and control the supply.
And in fact, as far as I can tell, and I've seen some of this on some of the business networks and in the business press, when speaking to investors, some of the CEOs of these entities are quite frank about this. They use the term sometimes pricing power to describe why they're able to now, in this environment, extract more profits.
No, absolutely. And let's be clear about what pricing power feels like to the mom like me in the grocery store. It feels like getting ripped off by Wall Street because that's exactly what's happening. And the American people understand this. They understand that they're being asked to pay more for, in some cases, less product. And it's unfair and it's wrong. It's an economy that is centered on Wall Street rather than being centered on workers. And Republicans have made very clear that if they win back this Congress, the very first thing they're going to do is give Wall Street an even bigger handout in the form of corporate tax cuts. That's the wrong direction. What we need to be doing is focusing on increasing competition, which helps consumers pay fair prices.
Yeah, I want to go back to those three categories because I think it makes sense for folks intuitively to break it down, right? So if you go in and a box of cereal costs $2 more than you're used to paying, right? The reason could be, hey, look, we have to pay our workers more. So our labor costs have gone up. Or it could be the ingredients in this box of cereal as well as the shipping costs have gone up, and we need to pass that on to you, the consumer. And I think people both understand and kind of abide those two. The third category is we can just get away with charging $2 extra, and it's good for our shareholders. And the contention here is that it's really the latter category.
No, absolutely. And look, early in the pandemic, I think consumers understood that there had been disruption to things like supply chains. There had been disruption to workers, and it was challenging to get labor. But I think what they see now is that Wall Street's greed is insatiable, and they will continue to charge consumers and take advantage of them until we elect policymakers who will stand up to corporate power. And that's exactly what I'm willing to do. I don't take corporate PAC money. I don't take lobbyists. I don't work for Wall Street. I work for the families that I represent. And that means I want an economy that works for them. And to do that, we have to have policymakers who are on the right side of this issue.
But this is where the rubber hits the road and why this issue is so difficult, because I did a segment last week about how the Republicans don't actually have a plan to deal with inflation in any plausible sense. Who can do anything about it, right? I mean, that's the problem, right? You got the Fed hiking rates to try to induce softer demand and get more people laid off and make sure people have less money so they can't spend it so prices come down. That seems less than ideal. You've got the Democratic Party running as incumbents, as you are in your race, with this 8% unemployment hanging over their heads. So what do you say to people about here's what we can do?
Well, so look, the Federal Reserve is using the tool it has, which is monetary policy. And what Congress needs to do is use the tools we have. What the Biden administration needs to do is use the tools it has. And to a large degree, we've started that progress, doing things like allowing Medicare to negotiate prescription drugs so that Big Pharma stops ripping off taxpayers and patients. It means standing up to Big Oil and saying, no, we're not going to let you lease our public land on the cheap. If you want to lease our public land to drill or mine, you need to pay a fair rate of return on that. One of the things the Biden administration has done that I think is so important is really push to make our economy more competitive. That means to giving small businesses a chance to compete and to grow. And you really can't have strong capitalism without robust competition. And what the big corporations want to do is squash the little guys, prevent that competition so they have unfettered, unchecked market power to gouge consumers. And Republicans have made clear that's who they're going to stand with if they're elected. Democrats, on the other hand, are going to fight like hell to protect consumers and workers. And that's exactly what I've been doing and what I intend to continue to do.
Misspoke there. Of course, 8% inflation, 8% inflation rate, non-unemployment. Congresswoman Katie Porter, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
That is all.